And that, I have absolutely no doubt at the moment, is the main reason for our success.
With regard to the club's current financial position, how much hinges on this possible promotion to the Premier League? Is the club currently in a financially solvent state, or is this something that is dependent on the potential promotion and the building of the new stadium as well?
Well, in the short term, the club, although we don't have advanced plans should we be in the Premiership, we do have fairly detailed plans should we be in the Championship, because we know what to expect there. The club certainly is solvent. We have an excellent board of directors with Steve Lansdowne and Keith Daw, who support this club through the good times and the bad times, and I have no doubts that will be ongoing whichever league we're in. So we are in a good position from that sense. But looking ahead, clearly a new stadium is absolutely imperative. I mean, Bristol needs a modern regional stadium that can take 30 to 32,000, maybe grow beyond that. Otherwise, the club is always, I mean, if we do reach our goal, Premiership football, and build from there, we're always going to be limited by a capacity of 19,500. We'll always be down in the small fry in that league, and Bristol can do better than that. So the viability of the club long term, the new stadium, is absolutely crucial, and the sooner we can get that up, running, and operating, and then because you have to be a successful football club as well, the better for the club.
Clubs can now be docked up to 25 points if they fall into insolvency and fail to exit via a company voluntary arrangement. What is your view on administration in light of Leeds Football Club's recent 15-point deduction for failing to achieve a CVA?
Well, I think the insolvency rules of going to administration are right. If you go back 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of clubs went into administration to offload their debts, and there was no penalty, and that was not fair. They were gaining a sporting advantage because most clubs serviced their debts, which means they couldn't spend so much on football. Other clubs were running up huge debts, and when it suited them, they just went to administration, lost all the debt, and started off on a level playing. That wasn't right. So the administration rule, where you dot 10 points, we believe is absolutely right, and Bristol supported that. The Leeds situation and the CVA and coming out of it is a more complex matter. In Leeds' case, I think the right decision was made. I think, as with any rule, they're always ongoing, and that will need to be looked at, mainly because the inland revenue stance will be the problem with that. And the clubs could get caught in that stranglehold between the inland revenue, who might well be the largest debtor, not allowing the club to come out of CVA. So that will need to be looked at, but I think that's really for an ongoing regulation.
Bristol City games have been aired on Sky a number of times now. How much are these deals worth to Bristol City, and what potential revenue could these deals bring in following a promotion to the Premier League?
Well, the Championship Football League deal is not in the same league as the Premiership Football deal. So, yes, we have been on television, I think 6 times this year live, but the money that brings, that they call it the facility fee, is the actual fee that you get for being live on television, is relatively small. It's a matter of public record. If you're at home, it's 60,000. If you're the away team, it's 10,000. So these are relatively small amounts of money, and the 60,000 doesn't really cover the loss in gate revenue, so they're not particularly financially lucrative to us. Cup matches are different. They're much more beneficial. There's a new Championship or Football League television deal which comes into effect in 2009, and that's a lot better. It's not in the Premier League standard, but it is a lot better, and the facility fee will increase in the Championship. Of that, I'm absolutely sure. But obviously, in the Premiership, the set fee is massively improved, and the facility fee is massively improved. I don't know the exact figures, but I think it's something like £400,000 home or away per game. So that's a different level, and that would obviously have a major impact on your finances.
You're heavily involved in the new 30,000 capacity stadium that Bristol City hope to build at Long Ashton by 2011, I think it is. How's this project being financed?
It will be financed, it's in the very early stages yet. Our professionals have all been appointed. And we'll be looking to put a planning application in by sometime next year. So we hope to start building in early 2010 for completion in 2011. So we haven't as yet got a costing on it, but we can make a pretty accurate guess at that. And we financed by a whole series of things. We financed, I would imagine, by the sale of Ashton Gate, which is a good starting point. It will be certainly, we'll be looking probably at naming rights, other commercial deals that we'll be looking at, possibly hotels, office space, fitness clubs. We'll be selling Premiership, a Premier club. We have a Premier club here. Well, that will be probably 3 times as big as the new stadium. That will be raising finance. We'll be looking at catering deals, brewery deals. We'll be looking to raise as much of the capital as we can without debt. But I suspect for a project this size, we will have to have some service debt, but we want to make that as small as we possibly can.
What kind of effect do you think the stadium will have on the status of the club on both a local and national scale?
Well, hopefully a lot. I mean, Bristol needs a regional stadium of 32,000. It's a city that probably the only big city that doesn't have a stadium of that size. So it will have a big impact, and hopefully it will attract in other big games here, potentially international representative games. Obviously concerts that we hold here now, but that will increase our capacity. We're a bit small for the big acts here. Our capacity is about 24,000, and that really limits some of the really big acts that we can get here. But I guess one of the things that Bristol will be looking at is the World Cup. We hope, Football World Cup, we hope is coming to England in 2018. But we'd like to think that Bristol will be one of the host cities. But you will need an even bigger stadium than 32,000 for that, and we're looking at that with the Bristol City Council and the FA. But what that would do for Bristol, if you would have the 4 or 5 World Cup games here in 2018, the biggest sporting occasion in the world, bigger than the Olympics, the Football World Cup, in terms of its global watching power, would be amazing.
The club is hoping to bring in a loyalty card system next season. Can you explain how this initiative will benefit the fans and highlight the reasoning behind your decision?
Well, there are lots of reasons. We want really, we want to go with these big, thick books full of tickets. They're big, cumbersome, and they often get forgotten. And people, so a card system is a far more modern way. We can reduce the number of turnstile operators. People can put their card into the electronic system and gain entry. But probably most importantly, we can track them. We'll know every time they come. And when we don't really, we know that probably up to 1,000 season ticket holders don't come to each game, but we don't know who. This will allow us to know, we'll know who's come. Also, when people buy stuff in the shop, eventually we'll be able to track this on their loyalty card. And if they go away, we'll be able to track that on the loyalty card as well. So from the fans' perspective, it'd be a far easier method of gaining entry to the club, but it'll also enable them to log the support they give the club. And when we then set about, and we have a limited number of tickets to sell, those that get the most loyalty points gives us a fair system to decide who's going to get the next loyalty after season ticket holders. So, and of course, eventually you can track it even further. Every